Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Today is the 11th of the August and the Freedom Day of the Pakistan is coming ahead. And as per the local residential issues, this is profound as that the Pakistani would have been found as to celebration of the Freedom Day of the Pakistan. But the cost which the Pakistanis' ancestors and in succession had portrayed, that is a question. We forgot, we have been forgotten or forgotten that issues. When I just consider that the Pakistanis have forgotten the ancestors' issues of their sacrifices of their lives for the civil issues of the Pakistan, then I come forward with the today is a alarming question. Last night I was in my room observing the Guardian defection clauses. This is a very broad term. I always raise emphasizes over this point that the Guardian defection clauses within the central limits of the provincial autonomy, Punjab especially. I just figure these issues. That's the way I just observe the question of the observation as well. When I just observe that the guardian defection clauses under the family suit, I repeat myself, guardian defection clauses under the family suits, why the duty judges, because this is the month of the August and the courts are under the duty judges these days. The judicial offshore and on record compilations always be in the position because of the observation of the Republicans. The primary issue with the Guardian defection clauses in Pakistan, which I just observed by myself after just observation of the so many articles of the constitutional deferred judgments by the Supreme Judicial officers enforced in the ex post facto performance of their duties. Uh, the question of those issues into the practical area always have and had a lot of multiple problems. This should have been observed by the Republicans. When I just always have a joint series of the reformative questions that to reform the Republicans for their own wealth and well-being. The counter-deceptive modes of the assessment is a point which is not being derived by the specialized individual. The specialized individuals always try to convince the equital conviction rate of the public tranquilized. I just use this point tranquility from tranquilized that these rotation and these ultimate depiction of the concept of civil defection clauses under the Guardian cases would have been portrayed by the Republicans in every series of the channels as well. When I just observe these series of the channels of the Republicans, civil defection clauses in the central Pakistan, after just reading a lot of articles throughout my life since of my birth, I was into the habit of just articulating the articles about the females' right, and I just observed the human defection clauses as well. First, I was of the opinion that the question of the females were the obsolete matter to be absorbed by the males. But the males, because of the total observation of the scientific outflux, this is a very refined area where I just observe the scientific confused individual as well, confined under the religion. Scientific confused individual confined under the religion and those institutions in which such individuals are trying to render the services would have been considered a point of no concept of having an observant in question of the same in the object lines of the Republicans. As a matter of fact, today, the utmost landmark judicial obligations should have been observed by the same. I am just narrating all these issues by myself. These are myself speaking orders to the Republicans that they have to, as a duty judge, I have to observe the guardian issues by myself by just observing a lot of production in the Pakistan. I was basically convincing the conviction rate of the economy, then the conviction rate in the equital. Then I just observed that the absurd reproduction ratio. The children, why the children are absurd? When we just compare a modern child with the child of the 3 decades ago, those children were very cold-blooded and very reserved with the modern and latest reformed areas of education of those times. But today is not that matter of humanitarian observation, because the modern children, because the production is modern, the children is modern, and the parents are trying to convince the same in the old manners of observation of the civil defection clauses of the modern children. But the civil defection clauses are not modern, they are still the same. I just invented this word, civil defection clauses, guardian cases. I'm the duty judge, the guardian duty judge these days, because I observe this area to be reformed by the Republicans to get that into their head, that the question of the reformed civil judiciary through the guardian cases is a first panel of observation by myself as a law officer as well. The compilations of the issues of the public disasters under the detracted or distracted area. When I just observe the normal nominal qualification of the children and just portray to ask a question to the said children found in the total ignorance to the qualification of its future invested in itself in the capital interest as well. When I just observe the individuals as a vagabond, the prime social issue of the Pakistan that the individuals became vagabond. They just want this is a prime social curse in Pakistan. The modernization in the whole of the globe through the internet. Whenever you just open up your browser or your mobile phone, you just observe several sort of the information resource management if you are not qualified as well. But despite of inventing and intervening with a lot of new techniques of the learning, e-learnings, and modules of education, the young students are profound as to just yelling over the common commodities selling production because they consider that there is a price hike. The self-consideration of the things to be not considered by the self-eviction is a question of the guardian cases in the Pakistan as per my finding. When I just figured it out that the females under the so motor notices of the which I'm preparing the so motor notices digital online by myself over my shoulder, I observe this huge target to be achieved by myself, because when I just figure out that the insolvent individuals in marital discoveries, insolvent individuals in marital discoveries, this is an invention of Gulraiz king. So when I just observe that the females and the males, they have a difference of opinion throughout their lives. They are suffering from this severe difference of opinion, and despite of learning to be the difference in the equity, difference in the economy, they are trying to cover the difference of opinion through their differences of that sexual ages and the rages of the same. There comes another factor under the sexual orthodox thought. This is a new term, sexual orthodox thought. When you just get married, you just have a child, a couple of child, and you just want to have the social income penetration to them. But when they be in the public sector, in the practical area of performing of those activities in the principal nexus, thereafter the public won't accommodate the same subject line because of the observation of the mal intention of the retroactive ruled out areas of living. The public itself is ignorant to their facts. This is the question. Yes, they are very introvert to the facts of the others, especially the Middle East blood. I always just observe these questions as to reform the implied judgments in the guardian cases through the video linkage, because I reserve this thought at the video linkage and to pronunciation of these. My throat is still not good, but I'm having a proper treatment of that as well. So let me take some water. When I just observe a lot of issues in the Pakistan, when I just observe the malfunctioning individuals and malfunction reproduction, the said individuals are not in the position to accept that they were the production of malfunctioning. That is not a crime. That if you were a production of malfunctioning, you have to restore or observe the questions of the same. But despite of that, today is an issue in the public sector, and that is not a well convenient as well. That when the public itself is in the question of the non reformed cycles, thereafter the questions of the public into the guardian cases would have been considered automatically as a nature or natural justice. The terms under the subordinate points of the natural justice. The questions of the targeted manipulated guardians is another question. Targeted manipulated guardian. This is and also a term which I just invented. The manipulated guardian under the legacies is another point which is being invented now. The questions are still in the public sector, and the public is trying to yelling over the mistakes of the permanent scientific disapproved transitional area, because they don't find the non-transitional area. Life always have the two issues comparatively, that the transitional area and the non-transitional one. But as a Republican, when we just collectively understand the adjustment of the equity rights, the adjustment of the equity right is an operative clause under the guardian ad litem cases especially, and the guardian de facto is another issue, and the foreign guardian de facto clauses is a third issue. When I just observe with very calm heart these points, that the de facto guardians in the Pakistan and the guardian ad litem, these two subversion points should have been observed in the declarations. When I just observe the cross reference through Article 184, the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, thereafter I'm totally reserved with the pronunciation of the judgment in the video linkage by myself as my judicial target to be achieved. When I just reverse those issues with my senses, it appears to be a hopeless case. The education is not a tool that you can earn a lot of income. It is a way to just make a lot of ways to have a lot of creative channels to have the incomes and expenses. They should have been very clear to the Republicans. But the Republicans, after just manipulation of each other, they just become very orientated. This is my grievance. In fact, under the federal laws of the Federal Shariat Code of the Pakistan, when the females depict no sign of observation, thereafter the males would have been provided no area of living as well. The concept of the artificial in areas of living is not a good action in any way. Okay, sometimes we just tend to be artificial, that is an admitted plea. But the denial to the admitting pleas is a question of today. Why the humans are not in the positions to accept that they are and were human somehow, if they are be a remaining area of the land of the Pakistan as well. So before the celebration of the 14th of the August, I figured it out to be a very declaratory in nature, because the declaratory area of working of the females of the Pakistan is quite opposite these days, because of the over reproduction in the cross relations in the minus editions. Yes, this is an executive channel of issue which is not in the question of the Republicans by themselves. 90% nowadays. Thereby, when I just reflects my senses to observe that water everywhere. Thereafter, when I just confined that the females were in the total abduction, total surrender issues, I'm totally senseless. I'm totally senseless to observe these issues. When I just observe the a lot of capital overcharged females reproduction, capital overcharged females reproduction in Pakistan. Thereafter, I was bound to observe the capital overvalued reproduction. Thereafter, I just observed the dowry come motivational dowry provided divorcee repatriation issues. So these are the civil interpretations by this advanced comparative judicial enforced duty judge as well. The question is that through the Witness Protection Act 2018, I appear to be very confined with myself that to pronounce the declaratory judgment online by just be in the position of the public sector. This is a new method which I just invent within 3 months. I always pronounce operative judgments by myself all night. I just have an adverse possession of the judicial room, and I just always write judgments there in order to ascertain the true benefit of the laws. And after that, I just conclusive draw the depiction of the facts by myself over my shoulder. There's no third, second person who is saying to, who is trying to convince me to do such a good things for the active social activities as well. So we, the Pakistani, have left those habits which just affect the social consideration of the public welfare being as well. You consider that the speaking orders and the speaking is the same. That is not a good point of law. The laws are very uh, moderate, and the observations of the Republicans, the concept of the conceptual myth, and the legacy of the non uh, obsessive or obsessive as well. So when I just observing these issues with having a very, you can say that a very low heart, yes. And then I just observed that the utmost clarifications by the individuals to each other after just investing the capital of the same. I invest the capital. Let's suppose I invest the capital of a second person, that is a female. Let's suppose in my way, and the same female is being harassed by the said capital in the face value of a marriage. Thereafter, what happens the next is a question of today. In every house, in face value, in front of you. That is my applied implied challenge to the Pakistani nation. That when they are not in the positions to observe the fiscal lines of the females, then why they have collaborate the capital gross inventories to the females? This is a question. The point of the rotation of the things, and after not acceptance to the electronic area. I always said that my videos are being reserved with the right of the Electronic Transaction Ordinance 2002, Section 2N and Section 2M. The why I'm making these protective enabled videos, because I observed that the media telecasting shows have no self acceptance to the issues of the refined areas of the public speaking. They are in the habit of the cross negligence, and cross negligence means that there is a negligence happened in the public sector, and the public is not willing to have the testification of the same, but the media is trying to show that. That is a good activity on the part of the media, but the individuals which are being portrayed in the telecasting shows are testifying the cross verifications of the same. Their job is that the concept of the self development mode of the assessment, which I'm doing by myself, because the time is asset of everyone. The capital overcharges of the females, the punishment to the solitary confinement females, the unnatural ways of reproduction of the females, the unnatural ways of the destruction of the females, and so many abortive issues as well in the guardian ad litem and guardian defection clauses as well. These are called the primary guardian defection clauses. When I just figure all these series of the connectivities of the females fabricated issues under the defection clauses of the families, under the still in gross defection areas of the not observation of the same, I'm totally out of my senses with having a head of 90 to 360-degree rotation everywhere, just like the cartoons we watch. So these are the baseline judgments in the family guardian defection clauses, which should have been apparent in the ground record, because of the central litigant in interest in the same is not in the positions to observe the confined area of the females in their houses because of the bad weather plus low economy, and then the low self-esteem of the same male which have abandoned the same subject matter in their houses. Yes, the question that when you just ask them that you have abandoned your females in your houses, they always portray a second question that we have to earn income. Of course, that is your prime right to earn income. That is your gross prime first right. But that is the answer which your female is deserving, not the others. So, if the achievements of the central observation observant individual is the same, thereafter there might be something which they are hiding from the same. This is the conviction of the guardian cases, which I just observed. The conviction of the guardian cases in the Lahore city apparently very high, and the minor females' properties under the uh, constructive partiality of the adverse possession of the men dominant society apparently be to be total non and un-Islamic from the prehistoric areas as well. Let me take my water. And today I have to clear that when your health is not proper, then you cannot use that word, that drink water. Then you say, let me take water. Interpretation clauses. From 3 days my health was totally out of area of humanity, and now it's a bit better, a bit better, and after that I'll consider it best. The questions of the guardian cases everywhere, 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 and such guardians are saying in the other houses that they are proud of their children. In fact, so stay blessed. The advanced comparative constitutional advocate Gulraiz King.